Compliments of the season. Welcome to Health Matters, coming to you live from Channels Television. I'm Yomi Otaigbe. With the festive season comes twinkling lights, nostalgic melodies, and the irresistible aroma of food and drinks. It's a time when our hearts are full and our plates and perhaps waistline tend to follow suit. For many people, the joy of celebration may outweigh the discipline of nutrition. How can we navigate and balance enjoying what the season has to offer while also keeping an eye on our health? Stay with us as we delve into how to achieve this balancing act. Welcome back. Our focus today on the show is making healthy choices this festive season when it comes to food, drinks, and getting adequate rest in the midst of merriment. Joining me on the show is a public health physician and social impact leader, Dr. Busayo Oyedemi. Thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you, Ma.
And
it's nice to be here.
Compliments of the season to you too. Okay, so this season, we all know that there's a lot to go around, you know, from one location to another. Why do you think people tend to overindulge, you know, this season?
All right, so basically, as you said, there's activities here and there. There's party, basically. And one of the highlights of parties in Nigeria is food. You will hear people saying that, oh God, the food I ate in that particular party is very nice. And everyone wants free food, especially when it comes to Lagos, generally. It's
not just Lagos.
Exactly. This festive season, we say people are doing dirty December. And funny enough, I was checking what the concept of dirty December is. And it's all about eating, drinking, partying. And the concept of the dirty is actually, you know, the leisure, the abundance of eating quite a lot of food and having to enjoy the moment. And, you know, when we see something that is free, there's opportunity, and then people want to just, you know, indulge themselves and eat. So, and the concept of dirty December itself means let's relax and enjoy it. We will lose the weight later. We will lose, let's not bother about the waistline. Let's just eat and consume. We will do that when it comes to January. And you understand that people already have this particular belief, especially when it comes to January. January is long. The year is going to be long. So let me enjoy it. This is just the last part of the year. Let me just enjoy and celebrate. So people tend to overindulge and just consume as much as possible because they say the time is still far. So let's just indulge and enjoy ourselves as, you know, as a way of just to keep the body and to keep themselves excited generally.
So it's okay to relax. It's okay to, you know, make merry. But as a medical practitioner that you are, you know that sometimes some of this would have their effects later. So let's talk about the need for balancing at this time, and how can we go about it?
Actually, it's actually important to do portion control. I won't say that it's something that even health practitioners, we tend to overlook some little, what's it called, calories that we think, oh, it's nothing, I'll just eat, and, you know, after some time I will jog it out, or you understand. So the way I used to say it is that it's input and output. So you can't overeat and expect that, okay, when you exercise, you will jog it off. It doesn't really work that way, because percentage of when it comes to weight loss, it deals with what you are taking in. To exercise up to 30%. So most of it is all about your nutrition. And so in this season, when you think it's just just 2 weeks or 3 weeks effect, it won't have a lot to do with my health. But the way carbohydrates and all these foods are, they are kind of addictive. So when you you indulge once, you want to overcommit again. And as you are doing that, the struggle will come when trying to now say, oh, let me just cut it off. By next year, I'll start. And before you know it, because it's addictive. So to really, it might be very difficult for you to say, okay, I'm coming off, I'm trying to. But as it stands now, it deals with your portion. So as much as possible, when you want to eat, maybe you want to even take bread, ensure you are packing it with a lot of vegetables. You know, your sandwich, reduce the oil content. Some persons will say, okay, I want to eat like normal food. And your normal food, you see, especially, you know, when you go for a party, there's always buffet. So you eat a lot of food before you
want to test everything.
You want to test everything, but you just have it at the back of your mind that I will see it like this. I will eat more of protein, and that more of protein is just make it like 25 to 30% of your meal. And then another part you want to put in is your vegetables. So you want to increase it because vegetables kind of have the staying power together with protein. They kind of fill you faster. So you are putting on your plate maybe one whole chicken, and then you are putting like a salad without cream because you want to reduce as much of the fat, and then you put that, and then just little portion of where earlier this year, towards the end of this year in November, and I didn't know how much I have gained weight, and I was actually even like, because I actually lost 2 kg within 2 weeks, and it was not something I knew that it would be workable, but I just find myself eating because there was buffet. And for a whole 1 week in that place, I was just eating because it's free. But one thing, I noticed the white people that we were working together, I saw their plate portion. I realized that these people were practically eating their protein first. Exactly. Almost nothing. And I see the culture of we Nigerians that were there. We were eating our grains. And one of them spotted it out to us. He said, why do you guys eat your rice first? Why don't you eat your protein first? That protein feed fat. And as a doctor, I've always known this, but I think the culture of our country, how we are going, like, you know, like eating your protein is like your reward of you
being able to finish the carbohydrates.
Exactly. So that was actually what it is. And she said, I think you should eat your protein first. And I see that whatever we served, even half of the protein, once they finish their half of the protein and their vegetables, they are not eating any other thing. And I see the power in actually, even in their starch, looking fresher, they were looking, their breakfasts were quite light. And that's one thing I want to say, especially during this season where there's festive and, you know, there's tendency that you are rushing out of the house, you are trying to do your makeup, you are not eating any breakfast, so you are going to the party hungry, so your glucose level is high, is low, so you want to refill as much as possible. There's fizzy drink, there's so many things calling your attention, and I just want to replenish with those ones. I would say that the best way to cultivate that is that eat your breakfast before leaving the home. Even if it's just light sandwich, just do something so that when you get to the party, you won't be tempted to overconsume and even take those fizzy drinks as something to just, you know, to fill up the low glucose level. So that's one thing. And also when it comes to that fizzy drinks aspect, I always say it this way: see it as unhealthy. Because anything in bottles, like anything, what's it called? I know you can take it once in like maybe 2 months or thereabout, but if it's something that you now make a daily,
it's not something you should take
all the time, because it's actually a very big risk factor for diabetes. So, and one action today can make you addictive. All those things that contain a lot of gaseous, they are quite addictive. So when it comes to going for events, one thing you can do is that before you top up your cups, try to fill it with water. So we are getting to the party, drink at least, take 3-4 gulps of water before you even start indulging. So you feel full already before you even start eating. So when they serve the food or when you go on your buffet, you are not tempted to overindulge.
Your stomach is already almost half full.
Yeah.
We'll speak to people who already have some medical conditions, you know, that they're dealing with, and, you know, they need to be very, very cautious at this time. But let's talk about how this food digests. For instance, maybe if our viewers, you know, would know how long it would take for carbohydrate to digest, how long it would take for your fat and oil, so that they will now be able to think and say, okay, I don't want to take this so much or this for carbohydrate. How long will it take, for instance?
Actually, carbohydrate
average.
Okay, so I would say carbohydrate break down easily, and it depends on the carbohydrate you are taking. So there's complex sugar and there's simple sugar. So the simple sugar kind of break down easily on time. So you can think of your spag, your what's it called, your drinks, all those ones contain your easy sugar. But starch itself, like carbohydrate in forms of starch in rice, I would say like 3 to 4 hours is already breaking down. Protein,
depending on the person's
metabolism. Yeah, actually, it depends on your body metabolism. All this breakdown depends on your body metabolism, and also on even disease conditions. because there are times that you eat. You see, that's why when people eat, sometimes they sweat, and you feel that need to. You just enter this place of you are feeling drowsy. You want to, your body start acting to break it down. It's a normal phenomenon. And for carbohydrates, because it's easily broken down in the body, right from the mouth. There are enzymes rather that breaks it down from the mouth down to the stomach and all. But for protein, the enzymes that act on it actually are within your stomach. You can imagine before you get to stomach, intestine. But for carbohydrate, right from the mouth, the metabolism, the breakdown is already happening. And that's why for protein, it takes longer time. And that's why you feel fuller, because it's in your tummy, stay longer
when you eat beans.
When you eat beans. Although it has been said that 70% of beans now, especially the type of beans we have, contain almost carbohydrate, because at the long run, it's being broken down to carbs. Like the most of the carbohydrate beans that we have, it's because there are different types of beans actually. But the common one we see in Nigeria is actually more of the one that break down that contains high content of starch, of normal carbs. So, and then that's why we say eat real protein, like yogurt, Greek yogurt. It has high content of high content of protein, and even meat. So, but for older person, we don't always want to say, oh, take a lot of beef meat because of the risk, or red meat generally. So we just say stay with eating something like Greek yogurt, fish. Fish is actually very good, in even good cholesterol as well, and is a very good source
fried or boiled or
anyone. But the way I used to say, it's better you roast or you do air frying rather than adding
dipping in the oil.
Or dipping in the oil.
Let me remind our viewers that they can join us in this conversation.
Yeah.
If you have any question or comments, you can call 0808 054 2233. The number is on your screen right now. Let's speak to those who have health conditions already. At this time, what is it that they can also do? You've mentioned, some of the things we can do, have a little more water than having alcohol. And then we'll talk about alcohol too. But let's talk about for those who have health conditions like diabetes or hypertension.
Okay, so I understand that we've always passed the narrative to people when it comes to diabetes that stay away completely from carbohydrates, stay away completely you can't imagine someone that is just diagnosed diabetic patient and over their lifetime they are used to eating, maybe, let me give an example like fufu, and suddenly you came in and say, oh, because I'm your doctor and we've diagnosed you diabetic, you have to totally stay away from it. It will be very difficult, because just like every disease condition, addiction, so, or even not addiction, but that's what they have available. So there are all other alternatives that I used to suggest to people, especially like in this case, instead of you taking quite a number of fufu, you can just reduce the portion. You reduce the portion to as significant. At least you are still eating it, but in a very low amount. And what types of soup are you complementing it with? Instead of eating it with like okra, you eat with a lot of vegetables, like vegetables that are rich in fibers, that can help
the digestion system. I wanted you to speak to the need for those set of people to be cautious, particularly at this time. Yes, when they see food, remember that you have a condition that you're dealing with, and then be mindful in the indulgence.
So, because it's actually very important that they actually need to be mindful, especially knowing the fact that the hospital is running, all good and fine, and you always have the opportunity, but you don't want to spend your crossover or this period, you want to spend it with family. So you have to also be very cautious. And one first thing I used to say is that check your sugar level in the morning. Even hypertensive patient, check your blood level, because it's not just your blood pressure rather in the morning, as much as well before you step out, before you even go for party, know your current health status, so that God forbid there won't be an emergency, but you actually have that at the back of your mind that, oh, I have a normal blood level. You've taken your drugs before going out. Everything is intact. And when you want to eat, you eat before stepping out. Because that's the thing most persons who have diabetes, they say, okay, so since diabetes is because of high blood sugar level, right, let me just not eat as I'm going out. So when I get to party, I will eat it to complement for the low sugar. Okay. It doesn't work that way.
I think we have a caller now. Hello. Frank.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us, Frank.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I'm a diabetic patient. What type of food? Which type of food will I be eating so that it will make me not to be having a sick every time?
Sure, Mr. Frank, you need to talk to your doctor, the person managing you, but Dr. Oyedemi will be able to say one or two things. Thank you so much for your call.
Actually, so it's not a total don't go against your, what's it called, your carbohydrates. But I would like to tell you that you have to see your dietitian, because the first thing about diabetics, they will tailor your food based on your appetite. And that won't be like, you have not given me the history of what the type of food you eat, and also based on your financial income.
Or the type of diabetes itself.
Yeah. So, and also based on your financial income, because there are alternatives that will replace some carbohydrate. There are some carbohydrates to tell you, no. You can't, like
so
pounded yam.
So you will need to speak with
so you will still need to speak with your doctor.
Now, let's quickly talk about alcohol. A lot of it will be flying around now.
Yeah.
You know, what impact it can have if, you know, a person overindulges in it.
Yeah, so there is a particular disease condition now, not even like a disease condition, it's a state when people take a lot of alcohol, especially people that already have like a hypertension, or maybe someone that have peptic ulcer disease, PUD. And it's like a rebound effect of taking in a lot of alcohol. And in those cases, people tend to have these withdrawal symptoms. And in the withdrawal symptoms, the person kind of becomes sluggish, unconscious. And that's why we are saying that whatever the health condition you are having, alcohol has a way of like, it's like a kerosene that it's kind of makes it overly overt, let me just use that word. So it's better, and one thing I used to say is that during this season, as much as possible, please stay away from alcohol. Whatever there's no safe level of alcohol. I know people have there's so many innovation research going on. There's no safe level of alcohol. It can cause to the extent numbness, nerve numbness, where you are practically numb. Sometimes it can even result in unconscious state. That does not mean that they won't arouse you back, but most of the times it's actually the adverse effect is something that you don't want
beyond
to beyond
exactly
enjoyment that the enjoyment, yes,
want to have from it.
Yeah, and then that's why we say even if you have any condition,
and even if you have to, moderation, I would think. Let's take this last caller, Sadiq. Hello, Sadiq. Thank you for joining us. Hello, are you there?
I'm there.
Please go ahead quickly.
About pandemic issue. Then he can't deviate from pandemic. I'm a diabetic patient. Yes, I'm there.
Oh, okay. I think your TV is on, so we are hearing you like multiple times.
By pandemic. Then he can't. Patient.
Sorry.
I eat bean food.
Okay, did you get him well? I really couldn't. Okay, I wish it was the connection was good. But finally, what would be the watchword that you're going to leave as we go? Okay,
so I would say, just like they say, take responsibility. So in this season, please take responsibility. I understand there's appetite, there's opportunity to indulge. Please, as much as possible, take responsibility of your health, because your health matters. And beyond the luxury of free food, or beyond the luxury of let's just party and enjoy, there's always tomorrow. Think about today.
And also find time to rest.
Exactly.
Yes, that's very important. We've been having a chat with Dr. Busayo Oyedemi, who is the public health physician and a leader in the social impact leader. Thank you so much for your time on the show. We certainly will say goodbye without letting you in on the stories making the rounds on our news segment.
An overachievement.
Nigeria has surpassed its 2024 neglected tropical diseases targets as 31.1 million people no longer require treatment for lymphatic filariasis, and 16 million do not need treatment for onchocerciasis. This was disclosed by the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, at the Gates Foundation closeout ceremony and virtual results meeting presentation in Abuja. According to Dr. Salako, the project, which was aimed at taking 27 million people out of ivermectin treatment and use by 2024, puts Nigeria at an advanced stage towards achieving the goals of the World Health Organization roadmap to end NTDs by 2030.
The lymphatic filariasis survey were planned for 54 pre-transmission assessment survey and 78 transmission assessment survey, one to hold in 13 states covering 49 local governments for the pre-transmission assessment survey and 69 local governments for transmission assessment survey. The result of these assessments were to determine the end of the disease transmission. This was to define the presence of or otherwise of continued transmission of onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis in Nigeria.
The Coordinator Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says Nigeria must urgently move from fragmented nutrition programs to coordinated, evidence-based actions to address widespread micronutrient deficiencies across the country. Professor Pate stated this while delivering the keynote address at the 2025 National Micronutrient Conference in Abuja. The minister explained that the conference was convened to bring together government, development partners, civil society, and the private sector to review data, align strategies, and strengthen systems across health, food, education, social welfare, water, and sanitation.
If we take the micronutrient survey and the DHS of 2024, we're seeing a picture of a nutrition landscape that is improving in terms of evidence generation. Yet still, there are serious gaps in the front end, in quality, in service access, and also significant burdens still in our population. The committee that we will inaugurate today, which is the National Advisory Committee on Micronutrition Deficiency and Control, is going to be a multi-stakeholder body tasked with guiding the implementation, monitoring progress, and advising government on the priority actions that are necessary to address micronutrient deficiency.
And finally, new analysis from a World Health Organization Global Experts Committee on Vaccine Safety has found that, based on available evidence, no causal link exists between vaccines and autism spectrum disorders. The conclusion reaffirms WHO's position that childhood vaccines do not cause autism. The Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety, established in 1999, brings together international experts to provide independent and authoritative scientific advice to WHO on global vaccine safety-related priorities. The latest analysis by the committee focused first on the relationship between thermocell-containing vaccines and ASD, and the association between vaccines in general and ASD. Evidence based on 31 primary research studies published between January 2010 and August 2025, including data from multiple countries, strongly supports the positive safety profile of vaccines used during childhood and pregnancy. WHO advises all national authorities to rely on the latest science and ensure vaccine policies are grounded in the strongest available evidence.
Remember, don't let the good vibes of the festive season lead you into a free-for-all food and alcohol consumption. Instead, be mindful of the kind of indulgence you partake in. Thank you for your time on Health Matters. Do have yourself a great season. I am Yomi Otaigbe.